Hello friend. Today in this video we will discuss how to create a simple API in C#.NET, right? So I'm using Visual Studio 2022. So in Visual Studio 22, in the right side, downside, we have one option: create a new project. Just click on that, or there have one option, multiple template. It's showing here like console app, Blazor web app, .NET Aspire startup app, so many more. So right now today we are explain like ASP.NET for web API. So simply click on this one, and they have the right side next one option, and we can put the application name test API, right? So after put the test API name and then click on next, and you can see all these things here, configure for https. So right now I'm like uncheck that one, not required for that for me. And there have three different options: none, Microsoft identity, platform, Windows, authentication type, right? So no need to add here, just click on create button, and you have to wait just just a minute, then project automatically set up all the project. Right, so you can see that here the like test API, it's showing inside the solution explorer. Test API, inside the test API we have some files like controller properties, app setting.json, program.cs, test.http, weather forecast.cs, right? So what happened in the controller, this is a API, so controller is the main thing here. So here right now I have one controller. So if you see that here the program.cs is the main file, which file to help to initialize this application, correct? So in this program.cs class all basic things are the mentioned here. If you see like create builder and add controller, builder.services.add controller, the added here already. And the downside, builder.service add endpoint aspire, and builder.build service swagger, all these things are the mentioned here, correct? Use dot authentication. So this is a basic API. So suppose that we want to get an API for any project. So simply you need to add here your controller, and inside that controller have one option to add class here. Simply the put here the class name, class my first class, correct? First class, my API class, we can mention name like that, API class, correct? My API class I mention here. Oh sorry, I forget the I need to rename. Actually this is a controller, so we need to put the pattern like that, my API controller, correct? My API controller. So we need to my API controller, and then you can see that here in this controller, and we are using here simply API controller, these things API controller, or we need to inherit here controller base class, correct? Controller base class we need to add here. Please wait for an editor command to finish. Correct. So my API controller, if you see here, simply you need to add here undo, and API controller and base controller, and base controller, correct? this control. Just a second. We need to import first API controller. Use Microsoft ASP.NET Core. Correct. And inherit here base control. Just a second. Need to check here controller base. Sorry, controller base. We have need to add here the basic functionality have inside the controller base. After that, just we need to create the constructor for this. The default control query, and we can return here public void public string public string public string. We can write down one method user list. So inside the user list, we can return here hello, right? So this is a basic controller. Inside the controller, we have written one simple method. That method name is public string user list. Method name basically user list, and inside the method we are returning the string type value. So string type we are written here, try to return in here the hello keyword, right? So let's see. So my API controller, and let me start this application first. Application started. Let's see. DLL is running. No need to, and we have to check that one and click on no, and just wait. Swagger is loading right now. So inside the Swagger, let's see which API will know API definition. Just loading error Swagger hide. So error Swagger.json hide. Just a second. Test select definition. Test API version, or we open that things like that. So now just I added here HTTP get the name user list, my API controller, my class name is my controller name. I put here the my API controller. Inside the my API controller, I return one method name is user list. So inside the user list, try to return here one string name is hello, correct? And so in API controller, we have to always point out to like HTTP get or HTTP post, HTTP verb we have to return here like HTTP get. I mention here like why we need to mention here like I point to this is a get method. So that's why. Let's try to this application. Let's see what is the result right now. So now you can see that here. So API running successfully. So inside the API, So they mention here two API. My API weather forecast. So we in my project, in my current project, we have two controller. The first controller my API controller, second my weather forecast controller. So we have written custom my API controller. When I click on this my API, that time if you see here, showing here the code status and description and media type also and example value. So there we have one button here. We then like click on try it now. So there have one option to execute. So just click on execute, and we can check that particular API method hit on my our API. So API name is my API controller. So inside the API controller they have one method user list. So if you debug here the code, or simply that method is written here hello. If you see here, this your API is showing the output here, response body showing here hello. So if you I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain in this video. So the main agenda, try to explain here how to create a simple API. Inside the API, how to create the controller and how to create the method inside the API, and how to hit write down the code particular method, and how to check in Swagger, right? So I hope you understood all these things. It's a very simple and easy way to explain the API. If you want to learn about the API and how to create multiple projects in the single solution, and how to make the dependency to each other, so I have already created multiple video along with Angular and apart from Angular also. So thank you so much watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe and like this video. Thank you. Bye bye.